Hello everyone, I am Tacit, and today I'm going to be going over the new Gems of War Mythic of Vernalis, doing a key opening for it, and just going over some first impressions with a couple teams that we end up making. So as far as where to get it, it is in the Glory Gem Guild and VIP chest for this week only, and then it'll be in the drop table with everything else. As far as the Mythic itself, it's pretty underwhelming for the most part. As far as what it does, it's basically a standard buffing troop if it was created into a Mythic. It does have a few benefits though. For one, it only has a 20 mana cost, green, purple, blue. It does count as divine, so you can 40% mana start it. It's also technically better than Suna. There are a couple instances where Suna could be used into a true damage build. Suna is the other mythic from Bright Forest. So if you're still missing a mythic from Bright Forest, it's worth considering getting a Vernalis for that regard. Its main value is probably its final trait. It gets to entangle and faerie fire a random enemy every single time it ends up matching green. So every single time you get green off the board, you'll be able to go and do that. Unfortunately, it's not off the extra turn, so it's probably not going to be triggering as much if you're not specifically spawning it. But you can still obviously just swipe green off the board and pretty much be good to go. So you don't necessarily need a green spammer, but obviously if you do have a green spammer, particularly something like Truffle or Beatrix, can end up working out pretty well for it. And aside from that, and Venoxia would actually probably work out pretty well as well. Mostly because it has quite a few interesting buffs. It ends up increasing the attack of your first two allies, then the life of the weakest two. Keep in mind, weakest and strongest is based on durability, so whatever their highest or lowest HP plus armor is combined together, that value. So if they have like 60 HP and 40 armor, that'd be 100 durability. But if they had like 200 armor and only 10 HP, that'd be 210 durability. So that one, even though it has a really low HP, would still be a higher durability due to its very low armor. So it's basically just whatever the HP armor value is, and in that order, the highest two end up getting the HP gain, and the weakest two end up getting the HP gain, and the highest two end up getting the magic gain, which is actually a pretty high static amount. In the case of things like factions and stuff like that, this is going to be exceedingly bad, especially later in the game. 10 magic is not a lot of stats. However, the earlier you are into the game, that is a static amount, so even if you get this thing at a very low level, it is still doing 10 magic to your two strongest, which can be a pretty substantial amount in some situations. Kind of reminds me of Infernus in a way, in that it has pretty good base value very, very early on in the game. And what's kind of funny is they both have a base value of 10, so it kind of works out. But yeah, overall, probably a mythic worth skipping. And the main instance I would say to get it is obviously if you're just getting every mythic in the entire game, if you have more than half the mythics in the game, or if you're looking for a Bright Forest mythic. As far as actually using it, I don't personally feel like it'll be that viable, but we'll mess around with it this video, mess around with it this weekend, see what it could do. But first things first, we need to actually get it, see what it could do. So let's go start getting our copies by opening a billion keys. Hopefully it won't take that many. We started with what, like 1,400? Oh, the Nutcracker from Christmas. Yeah, that's been in the drop table for a while. I'm pretty sure that only took like a month before it came back into drop table. Queen Titania, that's the other really good Faerie Fire one, which I'm pretty sure is still better than this. Oh, that's not too bad. And there we go, Vernalis in what, 300, 400? Yeah, about 400, 300, somewhere around there. Definitely not too bad. Let's go upgrade this thing and put him into all the teams. So if we go to upgradable, and where'd it go? All the way down here. And of course it is a mythic, so we can get away with using orbs on it, so we might as well. Get a nice big green. Get ourselves these 3 small oranges, since we have so many of them, might as well. Though we also have so many trait stones, so which one are we really saving? But there we go. Okay. And now it's all maxed out, and we're good to go. And make sure to never use a power orb, gosh. It's always scary going to that screen with the power orb there. And then they have the little offer thingy. But anyways, let's go put them into all the teams and see what we can do. I'll be messing with it quite a bit more this weekend. Do keep in mind, we won't be doing the Friday morning stream, so consider this video the Friday morning stream. We'll still be going over invasions and the mythic this weekend at our normal time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every single night, as we always do at the channel. Vernalis, where are you? Let me go get this guy into all of the teams, and then we can mess around with it. So, obviously, going to be a pretty good pick with Truffle, Beatrix, Venoxia. Anything that can really create a lot of green is generally going to be a pretty good idea. Even in this case, in the lower team, we end up doing it with a loyalty, something that's not used too often, but it does have boost ratio based on entangle, so it gets a bit of value there. Plus, the fact it creates green is obviously quite a bit of decent value. It counts as divine, so you can use it with a divine team. This one doesn't particularly use the green aspect, but it does use it for the fact that this entire team is divine except for hero, mostly because we wanted to tank with it. But anyways, let's start from the top and go from there. So first things first, we're kind of going with a little bit more of a standard true damage team, though the weapon isn't really that standard. One interesting thing about this too is it is indeed pure blue, which I'm not sure you'd really use this for Guild War this week, but it is indeed pure blue. So right off the bat, we obviously want to ideally get Beatrix rolling. Unfortunately, he's about to do a blue to yellow, which isn't doing too much yet. Okay, he didn't get too much value from that. We should be fine. So we do have Beatrix, obviously, so every single time we take an extra turn, we do get cleanse. Dawnbringer's mostly just here for the extra bit of protection. Every single time we take a green is going to be very devastating. That's probably going to be 90% of his value, to be honest, is, of course, it was cleanse immediately. He must have Cedric's, or not Cedric's, Orpheus's. Pretty sure he has Orpheus set. Is there not a way to check? Well, he only has one magic from the thing, so I'm pretty sure he has, like, 2 Orpheus set on the other thing. But, he used to be able to check, if I was in the wrong menu. But, yeah, this cleanse can be annoying. But basically, every single time we take a green, we're going to be getting a faerie fire entangle. And that's obviously pretty devastating as far as how much value we can get. He's using a pure purple team, so this is actually pretty good for us right now. Normally, we don't get that lucky. As you can see, we end up getting the entangle faerie fire. So, in this particular instance, the whole point of our team synergy here is that we both entangle them and silence them. Normally, you're not going to get lucky enough to silence all of them in one cast. But basically, if they're both silenced and entangled, they can't do anything. They can't accumulate mana, and they do 0 off of skulls, unless they get like a Doom Skull spam. But if they're all silenced, that's not really going to happen. But Faerie Fire, of course, also makes it so we do 50% more damage. Right here, we can go for a buff, and it guarantee gives us attack buff right up front, which is pretty substantial. At a PvP range is basically doubling your attack. So that's not too bad. Obviously, in things like factions and stuff, this guy's going to be absolutely horrible. But in the context of PvP, its amount of boost isn't that horrible. But we'll go get this down. Bunch of damage. Every single time we take a green, we end up getting the value there. So apparently not getting too many green. It's not really going to matter much, and he's just dead. And of course we get the Faerie Fire, which is 50% extra spell damage there, and helps Beatrix do its damage. And there we go. So he does, even though he doesn't directly do any damage, he does of course assist you in doing both Faerie Fire 50% as well as the attack buff, which in some instances is basically doubling the amount of attack. I'm just skipping the normal PvP just because we have a fake PvP team there and I don't want to waste a gem. But anyways, next up we have a bit more of a Ketris build, or a Divine build, however you want to look at it. This one obviously spams green a lot less, however that's not the necessary goal of it. Basically we start with 40% mana across the line. We want to take a brown pretty much immediately. Unfortunately this board is very bad for what we want to do with this team. So it's going to take a little bit of mana, kind of get things rolling. And still no brown. We could try for it off a Sky, which at this point I guess is our best bet. We unfortunately do not get it, though luckily this next board does indeed give it to us for free as well. Not enough to get rolling yet, but we do have everything else we need, so that should be fine. If we go and... who do we want to do first? We do have Faerie Fire on it, so we're going to get quite a bit of damage value there. Oh, we did Cascade full mana. We do have Alignment as well, so you know what, we might as well just go for that. Get our poke in there, get quite a bit of our mana back. We didn't do the attack buff yet. Of course, one thing that you can do is synergize attack buffing, or, you know, the skull spam with the attack buff that it has to get a little bit of value there. Not sure if Ketris got magic, but let's hope he did. So we'll go kill that. Faerie Fire makes it so it's enough damage. Probably should have aimed the other way around, but at least if nothing else, we get a little bit of poke there. The only problem is if he gets a kill now, he can get a bit of value there. But I don't think he's going to. And at this point, if we have alignment, we pretty much just won. We do have a Cascade there. That doesn't give us alignment, though. We still have a poke, but none of it's extra turn. And Ketris doesn't hit through gap, so it's not actually going to kill. So we'll take a blue, try for Skull Sky. We actually got it, and then we just Ketris, and then he's dead. But there we go. And as you can see, it helped a little bit with Entangle Faerie Fire. Honestly, like 95% of this thing's value is its final trait. Its final trait's actually insanely good. Every other aspect, not so much. It's basically a standard buffer that does a lot at once. Just all at once. But that final trait, that's where you're getting like all the value. It might even be used as a Queen Titania alternative on occasion. Of course, Queen Titania, the current best and still best way to apply Faerie Fire. However, getting that Entangle value on top of that while still doing Faerie Fire, pretty effective. And probably his main gimmick if you're going to bother using him. So this one, of course, is the very cheap team. This one, pretty nice because we can create green while also creating other gems. So right here, we could actually skull spam with it and use it both either defensively or offensively. So if you already have the attack buff or you just want to pressure skulls, you can do so. Or if you want to play it more defensively and just get more mana that you need, you can also do it that way. I am doing this with rope dart, which technically isn't a cheap weapon. However, it was available relatively recently, so I figured we showed with it. However, if you don't have rope dart, you can just put any other yellow weapon there and it'll probably be fine. In this particular instance, it looks like we're going for skulls almost every single time. Of course, you can target things that aren't skulls. However, it seems to be working out for skulls for us, so we're just going to keep doing skulls until we miss, apparently. Unfortunately, this team doesn't have freeze. Actually, I don't think a single one of the teams I showed end up utilizing freeze, but of course you can do freeze with Beatrix, freeze with Truffle, and kind of get value that way. At that point, it might be better off just going an infinite Truffle team. So let me kill this thing. It's being annoying that he doesn't have immune, or that he does have immune, I mean. Unfortunately, no Doom Skull here, and we miss. I should have just taken the free extra turn. Whoops. Also, we got this guy for resummon. I figured earlier in the game you might need it. It's kind of like Thrall, but if you can get a magic buff on it, it'll actually have a decent amount of destroy. Earlier on in the game, the amount of destroy Thrall and things like this have, and Marilith is relatively low. But if you give it something like a 10 magic buff, which honestly I don't even think we casted him a single time this battle. However, it kind of doesn't matter. His Faerie Fire Entangle on itself is kind of enough that, yeah, it's kind of getting the job done. That alone is pretty much enough to get the job done. Also, we do have some extra Entangle for the thing, and we do get boost ratio from Loyalty. Well, it's not much of a boost ratio, though earlier in the game it would be, and this is a low-level team. But you get 4 additional HP per ally, per cast, per Entangle on the enemy team. Oh no, it's starting to get summon spam. Oh no. Also, can we please cast them? I want to cast them once. I don't think it'll let us. Probably going to win before we get. It's not enough to kill her entangled. Here, Rope Dart, go do your thing. And it's dead. Well, they got a lot of Faerie Fire Entangle value, which is pretty much the Mythic in a nutshell. So overall, as far as the Mythic, it's definitely a weird one. Compared to getting Suna, I would say this is a better troop than Suna. If you're going to choose between getting this, or, you know, if you're looking for a Bright Forest Mythic, and you have to choose between Vernalis and Suna, it's definitely going to be Vernalis. You can end up still using it within the true damage build, kind of like how Suna can be. And it just has a lot more versatility as far as what it can use. And its final trait is a lot better, given that instead of just Faerie Firing, which I'm pretty sure is what Suna does, like Faerie Fire off a red or something, this does both Entangle and Faerie Fire. So, of course, off a green, different color. But there's plenty of builds that can build pretty easily into green. And the fact that you have things under Beatrix and some other really good options ends up working out pretty well. And you can end up spamming it out, getting a bunch of it, getting Entangle Faerie Fire spam, and that's pretty much all his value. I feel like very rarely are you actually going to be casting his ability. It has the same problem that basically every buffer in the entire game has right now, and that a good majority of them end their turn when they do the thing and they don't have any kind of board control. And the fact that it is going to auto-end its turn and needs so much mana just to kind of get it rolling isn't really going to do much. Earlier on in the game, I feel like this will get a bit more value. But as you keep getting later and later, the amount of static magic that he's going to be giving becomes diminishingly less effective, and the amount of attack and life is nothing too special. Like, it's definitely helpful, but it's not going to make or break most battles unless you just really want to buffer specifically like that. But there's so many other options that can kind of do similar that you're not really necessarily going to need it for its ability. It's almost entirely for that very shiny final trait. Well, I haven't really mentioned it much. This is the second or third, if you look at it, Mythic-like troop that has a link. I like that they're starting to do this now. Mythic's big problem, of course, like almost every Mythic has, is that they have too high of a mana cost. However, Nature Link, or, you know, any link helps do that. We didn't get the first Mythic or anything higher until Karandera was the first one that actually had it all the way in Season 1 of Gems of War several months ago. However, other things having it now is pretty nice. I hope this becomes a reoccurring thing where they just start adding a mana link to pretty much every single Mythic, because other than Queen Aurora, there aren't really many that ends up doing it to a substantial degree, and every single Mythic that ends up getting one is pretty beneficial and helps them with their mana issues, because almost every mythic has mana issues just because of how high their mana cost is, even if it's a good mythic with a good cast. But anyways, guys, I'll catch you guys later. Hope you all have a wonderful week and weekend. Best of luck if you're going to be trying to get in the Glory Gem Guild and VIP chest drop table. If you still have any other questions, feel free to leave it in the comment section below. And as I mentioned, we will not have a morning stream today. However, we will still have our normal nightly stream tonight, as well as the rest of this weekend, and up until we leave next week at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, as we do every single night on this channel. Anyways, guys, we'll catch you later. Thanks for watching, and goodbye, everyone!